Hey, welcome back everybody. This is my second update for the summer, and it's August 4th here. And I'm just sitting here this morning, been testing tubes, putting them into little boxes, and these are for my TV7 calibration tube sets that I sell. And I've now sold over 100 sets of these, believe it or not. Didn't even think about making these. If you remember when I did my TV7 calibration set, video set, I basically said, hey, go buy these from another guy. But then I found out he had quit making them, so I've just been making up batches of them and selling them along the way. At any rate, thought I'd talk a little bit about what we've been doing and not doing this summer. Let's start with the not doing. I've not been doing a lot of electronics at all. I made one Hamfest this summer, the little Salisbury Firecracker Hamfest over July 4th. And it was a good little Hamfest. I bought some tubes there. Maybe we'll go in here in a little bit and I'll show you what I bought. But outside of that, I have been on hiatus from electronics all summer long. And honestly, in retrospect, I needed the break. Just this coming down to the basement every other day or every day, kind of grinding on electronics, making videos once or twice a week, it comes with a price on you and your family and the other hobbies you may have. So this may be something I do every summer now that I've experienced it. But, I am excited about getting back to it. About 3 or 4 weeks from now will be the Shelby Hamfest here in North Carolina. That'll be a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday event for me. Taking a couple days off work, we'll go do that. And hopefully I'll see some of you guys out there. So yell at me and come shake my hand, and we'll talk a little bit of audio or electronics. But after that, I'm hoping to kind of get back into the electronic swing, or at least that's the game plan anyway. So let me pause here 1 second, and I'll come back and tell you some of what we have been doing this summer. Just hanging out with the dogs on the deck out here this morning. It's beautiful weather right now in North Carolina, kind of light and cool. Okay, this is my sunroom system out here, which is right next to the deck I was just on. And this is something I picked up this summer. It's a pair of JBL L112s, and they are nice. Let me pull the covers and show you. Yeah, this is just an upgraded version, some people will say, of the L100s. It's got a different tweeter and a different crossover unit in it and a different woofer. These you can actually recone, and these have been professionally reconed. So really happy with how this setup sounds out here. I'm a little bit embarrassed to show you this, but my wife uses this stereo more than I do. It's a Marantz, as you can see here, 2270. But here beside of it is hooked up a Echo Dot. So my wife will just say, Alexa, play whatever, and it'll start playing the music she wants, and you can hear it all over the deck here real easily. And we spend a lot of time out on the deck, so it works out quite well for her and very easy. I have the Echo Dot synced up with Spotify as its primary source, so we can play our playlist and whatnot. But don't have a ton in the sunroom for it. Otherwise, I probably would have these speakers spread out a little more and out from the wall. I do have them out from the wall about, I don't know, 12 inches or so, but it's probably less than ideal. But for what we use it for, it works out quite well. And good to know I don't use tube gear everywhere in the house. Just there's a few places solid state makes a lot of sense, because sometimes the kids will be out here, my wife turn this unit on, forget about it, and it stays on for 3 days until somebody else notices that it's on or whatnot. Much rather do that with a solid state unit. And this is my little bar out in the sunroom that I keep fully stocked. But you can see here these Rogers Studio ones. These are the ones I took out that I don't have in use anymore. That's what I was running out here. They're amazing sounding speakers. I'll tell you, to be honest, I can't say that the L112s are heads and tails above these. These were pretty good sounding speakers. And the Salisbury Hamfest, I just dumped these out of my backpack I carry around, and haven't gotten a chance to put them up yet. But Guy had a bunch of tubes, and he was wanting a pretty good price for it. I was trying to buy them all. I was just saying, how much you want for all the box of tubes? And he was wanting like $240, I think it was, for the box of tubes. And I don't know how he came up with that price, but there were a lot of tubes in there that weren't worth, you know, a quarter, much less $1. But there were some good ones in there. So I ended up saying, well, how about this? Instead, let me just buy what I want for $2 a tube. And he said, that sounds fair. And I really didn't know what was in there when we agreed on the $2 a tube. And I started digging, and there's quite a few 12AX7 7025s, 12AU7s, 12AT7s. Let's see, there was a 5AR4 made in Great Britain. That's a Muller GZ34. 12AU, a new Tungsaw 5881, 606, 12AX, 12AU. This was probably the cream of the crop. A new old stock set of 6 CA7s. One of these, if I'm not mistaken, I'll dig this up here real quick, maybe. Maybe. There we go. One of these is a new old stock made in Great Britain. The other is a made in Holland, so it's an Amperex. Amperex. And this is that's a Muller. So that's part of what I got out of the lot for $2 a piece. Let me show you the others. I may have overpaid on some of these, but there are about 35 or 40 just small signal Western Electric tubes. 401As, 408As, 403As. There was a 396 in here somewhere, but in general just a bunch of small signal tubes that but they're Western Electric and I couldn't turn them down, so I bought all those at $2 a piece too. Some of those probably are not worth $2 a piece, but it kind of balanced out over on the other side. This is what's going to blow your mind though. So these tubes right here, you remember the Western Electric haul I bought this summer? Well, I thought I had gone through the boxes and gotten everything out and got it kind of cataloged and put up, and then I was about to throw the boxes. So that was what, 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Here, I guess about 2 weeks ago, I was about to throw the boxes away. They're stacked up over here in the corner where I kind of stack up boxes. There's two new monitor boxes I bought. But anyway, I'll stack boxes there, and then finally when I take a run to the dump, I'll haul the boxes off and recycle them. But I was picking up one of the boxes, and I thought, this box has a little bit of weight to it. And I got to looking, and it had a false bottom in it, basically. It had a sheet of cardboard that was exactly the same color as the box, kind of laid down in it. And underneath of it was a layer of bubble wrap, these tubes right here, and then another layer of bubble wrap. Any rate, a 328A Western Electric, a 101F, a 310A mesh plate there, a 311B, and another 350B I found underneath that, along with all these little boxes here, which was like a 403, you know, just more of those small signal tubes, and some original Western Electric heat shields here. It just kind of blew my mind. These were like, if my wife had been helping me and we'd have been carrying boxes out, these would have been, and she'd have picked this one up, it'd have been gone. I just happened to notice the little bit of extra weight, and otherwise these would be in the landfill right now. Okay, you guys remember earlier this year I made this big Western Electric haul, a bunch of amps, a bunch of tubes, speakers, whatnot, and I paid a pretty penny. I mean, I paid in the 5-figure range for this stuff, so I did not, I did not get it for free. Any rate, I sold the set of speakers out of it because I really was after the amplifiers and the tubes. I sold a set of speakers, and I got $7,000 for this rare set of Western Electric 755A speakers. Any rate, you kind of think that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Probably never see another deal like that, but I'm here to tell you this little story I'm about to show you is to inspire you to keep digging, because the stuff is out there. So I get a text from a buddy of mine who lives in Winston-Salem. He's kind of a flipper by by career and does a lot of antiques and different things. And he sent me a text one day and he said, check out what I picked up at a local flea market. And the rumor has it he just paid a few dollars in the two-figure range for these speakers. And here they are. As you can see them, it's a pair of 756 Western Electric speakers, which are pretty even rarer than the ones I had. Unfortunately, these had a little bit of one of the cones had some damage on one of them. The other one was missing a dust cap, some things like that. But all in all, they were there, and we brought them over here, hooked them up on the bench to an amplifier, hooked them up to a signal generator, played this frequency spectrum. They both played well. Any rate, I was looking at buying them myself, and I thought, I just don't know that I would ever use them. And two, while I'd like to have them, I'd have liked to got them at the price he got them at, not the price he was looking to sell them for. So he ended up putting them on eBay, and you can see them here and what he ended up getting for them. Not quite the same as the pristine ones I had in the wood cabinets, but nonetheless, this stuff's out there. $20 or $25 at a flea market. You too might find this kind of deal one day and pick it up and either keep them and use them or flip them. And I guess the moral of this story is there's more of this stuff out there. Keep digging. All right, so if you want to, you can cut the video off now if you're just into the electronic stuff. The rest of the video is more personal things in my life that I've been doing this summer and a few updates. So any rate, first on I had still an outpouring of people reaching out to me saying they hope I'm doing okay with my health and whatnot. And I am. I'm doing really, really good. I've lost 30 pounds since the heart attack. I exercise quite a few days a week now, eating a very healthy, low sodium, low cholesterol, low saturated fat diet at this point in time. It's kind of hard eating out when I travel and whatnot, but other than that, doing really well. I just completed 36 sessions of cardiac rehab, which means I've officially graduated from the program. However, I'm going to keep going. They now have me on what they call a maintenance plan, and I have to pay out of pocket, but it's not a whole lot. It's 4 minutes from where I work at, and it's on my way to work, so I might as well swing in there at 7:30 in the morning and leave at 8:30 in the office by 8:45. Unfortunately, you guys know I changed jobs this summer now, and I'm now the Chief Information Security Officer for Ashley Furniture. So there's about 1,000 retail locations across the nation, and it is the world's largest furniture manufacturer. I kind of head up their security department there. But any rate, they've been very flexible with me and letting me kind of do the things I need to do for my health and whatnot. So it's worked out quite well. It's just, it's 15 minutes from my house too. It's a very short drive. It's 13.8 miles, and sure as heck beats driving 74 miles to Charlotte like I have been doing for the last several years. So anyway, that's kind of my health update. Doing well, and hope to keep doing well. Let's see, a few other things I got here. My son flew in from New York earlier this year to spend a weekend with me. Every year we go to what's called Heroes Con. It's a big comic book show here in Charlotte. It's a multi-day event, and it is a huge undertaking. It's hard to even cover it all in one day. And as you can see here, I bought some comic books. I bought this Brave and the Bold book, which was the first Justice League of America book. My son picked up first new Giant Size X-Men #1, which has a lot of first in it, Nightcrawler and whatnot. That was on our first day on Saturday. We went back on Sunday, and I ended up picking up a copy of Fantastic Four #1, which had been on my want list for 20 years or more. So I've been collecting comics since about 1980, I think it was. So quite a few years. At any rate, some of you guys might not care at all about that. Let's see, next. My youngest son, Michael, that was Matthew in the picture there with the comics. My younger son, Michael, he turned 21 this past year, and had promised all of my kids a trip to Vegas when they turned 21. My daughter didn't want to go to Vegas. She said, Dad, give me money. I'm going with some friends to Sweden, so I did that. Both of my sons, though, we've gone to Vegas when they turned 21. But Michael couldn't quite get there on his birthday. He had college stuff going on. I had work stuff going on. Then the heart attack came. So finally this summer, over July 4th, we ended up in Vegas together. And this is probably the best picture I can use to describe us in Vegas. I actually won a good bit gambling, and we had a good time there. Let's see, up next here, this is my lovely wife, Patty. I've probably never introduced you to her. This was she and I last weekend. We went out to the Melting Pot and had a nice little dinner together. But she's the one that supports all these hobbies and all my collecting and whatnot. So I'll tell you guys, without her, I don't know where I would be. And honestly, if you ask what I've been doing this summer, I've been spending a lot of time with her. So we've been doing a lot of fun stuff together. A lot of little trips up to Boone in the mountains and whatnot on the weekends, just kind of touring around, starting to get this idea in our head maybe of buying a mountain cabin at some point. So starting to look at some of those. At any rate, we've been growing a garden out on the deck this summer, as you can see here. Jalapenos, tomatoes, and green peppers is kind of the variety, along with a bunch of flowers and whatnot. And let's see here. Last in the pick here. This is what I did for 4 hours yesterday. Spit it underneath our GMC Denali, changing the starter. You would think changing the starter on a car is a pretty simple, trivial task. I've probably changed the starter on 20 different cars over the years. I do all my auto mechanic work pretty much myself, by the way. It's just, I grew up working on cars and I enjoy doing it. And there's some things I don't do, like muffler work, body work, things of that nature. But a lot of the other stuff, you'll see me hanging out underneath the car like this. But this one was a pain. A lot of time to get the starter in and out. It was just surrounded by a lot of things. I ended up having to pull the dipstick tube out of the vehicle to be able to get this thing in, which is not something you normally do in the process of changing a starter. But let's see, what else have we had going on? Oh yeah, I'm out searching right now to buy a tractor. Never thought I'd say those words. I moved and bought this small farm some 20 years ago here, and I've always had a neighbor that's had a nice John Deere tractor, and we've traded out. He would do tractor work for me, and in turn I've got several 5-acre fields that I would let him use to grow hay on, or his horses or cows or whatnot. Anyway, he got divorced recently, moved away. Now I have no one to trade my tractor work out for. So, you know, I'll continue to let somebody else use the fields for hay and whatnot, but there's just a lot of little things I want to do around that I feel like I need one. So I've been out shopping kind of the Kubutas and the John Deeres of the world. That's kind of a Ford Chevy religious thing I'm finding. But any rate, been doing that. I've been doing some retro gaming. I've been playing some Intellivision. It was the first gaming system I ever got in probably 1983 or 84, something like that. And dug that thing out, bought some games on eBay, hooked it up to a TV in there, and been doing some retro gaming along the way. Been doing some travel for work to both Wisconsin. That's kind of where Ashley's headquarters is at. The three main offices, Arcadia, Wisconsin, which is not an easy way to get there. You fly to Minneapolis and drive 2.5 hours to get to this place. And when you're there, there's pretty much nothing there but a bunch of Ashley furniture kind of factories. But their tech center is kind of in Tampa. It's where most of their IT shop is. So I'm in Tampa at least once a month. Got some of my team there, and some of my team in Arcadia, and some here in Advance where I'm at. So travel between those locations pretty frequently. But outside of that, you know, things are going well. The travel's not been too heavy. Been able to still do my cardiac rehab. Just been having fun spending time with the wife and trying to get this new job underway. I'm 2 months into it. You know, I've got my 90-day plan, starting to execute on that, things of that nature. But that's what we've been up to, and hopefully I am kind of hankering to get back to some electronics. So when September rolls around, we'll jump back into this stuff and keep the videos coming to you. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Just a little summer update. I hope you guys are having a great summer as well, and we'll see you after Labor Day at some point. Thanks again, everyone.